Hey everyone, so I didn't think I was ever going to do another video on removing a kite from the lines, but this one was different. We might as well call it the $5,000 kite, maybe even the $10,000 kite. This was a big deal. So it started off, I was at home, I just woke up in the morning and got a call. We probably get half a dozen of the year. Dispatcher said somebody reported a kite tangled up in the wires in their backyard. Didn't eat breakfast, didn't make my coffee, just jumped in the truck, figured I'd be back home in a jiffy. And arrived, as I was arriving up to the area, I looked at the address and I was thinking, backlot lines, backlot 3-phase, 12,472. But there was a transmission line, 138 kV. It was quite a ways back and behind the homes. But I thought, nah, there's no way. So I go up and knock on the door and just, hello, we're going to check out the kite in your backyard. And so they said, come on right on through, open up the gate. And I didn't see a kite on the lines as they were kind of guiding me through their backyard. And I thought, oh my God. So the kite was on the 138 kV, 138,000 volt line. So it wasn't on the phase, it was up on the counterpoise, on basically the ground wire over top, on the top of the structure. But it had really long tails, like 15-foot long tails, and they were flopping in the wind. When I first arrived, they were going right down the line. The wind was blowing these tails right down the line. There was no concern of it getting into one of the phases and tripping the line. But it did look like it could reach. So my first call was to our power system operator. I'm going to back up a bit. A kite's not really conductive. In fact, it's not conductive. It's definitely not an insulator. But something that's not conductive at 138,000 volts, almost anything can become conductive, especially once it gets contaminated. So the concern is you get a kite, these really long tails, they were super fine fabric. If it does conduct, if it does blow over and hit that other phase, it's going to be fast. It's going to be a flash, loud bang, puff of smoke, and that kite is gone. It would be absolutely disintegrated. It would, however, trip the transmission line. And when a transmission line trips, it's a big deal. It's documented. I won't get into the Electricity Canada stuff, but that stuff, it's all reported. There can be fines involved, and of course fires as well. So we're on the right of way in the woods, and I snapped some pictures of it. I just keep looking over here because there's some kids going door to door, probably trying to sell something, maybe mow lawns. I don't know. Anyways, squirrel. So the discussion with the power system operator went something like, here's a picture of the kite. The wind had shifted at this point, and we realized the tails could most certainly reach the phase. So what's your plan? It looks like we might be able to reach it with an extendo stick. It was right in the belly between the two spans at the lowest point. Maybe we can put a knife on an extendo stick and give it a quick snip, like let the wind take it away like we saw in the last video. So basically what I said to the dispatcher is, it's up there. It's going to be really hard to get at. There's no access. There's no roads. There's no way to get a boom truck to it whatsoever. What do you want to do? Want to leave it? If it flashes over, we know why the line bumped. Probably not the best idea, but we knew removing it was going to be very expensive and time consuming. So the discussion quickly led to, there's been a ton of fires for this early in the year. It's extremely dry. So if it does flash over, there's certainly a chance of sparks igniting some dry grass in the right of way. We definitely do not want that to happen and have to do everything in our power to prevent that, meaning the kite has to be removed. So at that moment, as I mentioned, dry day, windy, if it wasn't hitting the phase, it was coming really close. But it wasn't up there for long. It's dry. When I would be really worried about that would be if there was heavy fog, it started to rain. Rainwater has a lot of contamination in it, minerals, whatever. I don't know. That's not my specialty. But then as the water evaporates, it can leave conductive contamination, which at 138,000 volts can certainly track through. So there's a discussion as to be safe, should we dump the line very quickly before cutting it off? Do we want to try and reach it with telescopic sticks? We were kind of trying to come up with a plan. Also, the transmission lines, while I am certified to work on them, I've worked on them before. It's not our department. We are divided up into our transmission and our distribution department. So we figured we best call in a crew from the transmission department. So we give them fellas a call. They're not on call in the way that we are. They cover the entire province. It takes them a little bit longer to get out. They're very rarely called out for emergencies unless there's a storm. So we got a hold of one of the transmission crews. They said they were going to be a while. The power system operator asked me to remain on site in case something did happen. Of course, if there was a flash, chance of fire, we could secure the scene as quickly as possible. So speaking with our transmission department, they asked what I thought what my plan was, and I didn't put the stick up in the air. We have to get a hold off on the line. We have to talk to the power system operator. There has to be 2 guys on site, even do stick work on transmission lines. But eyeballing it, it looked like an extension stick could work. So I did mention we get a couple extension sticks out, put a wire brush on top of the extension stick. You might be able to spin it and spin that tail right up on the kite. Second guy with a knife, cut it off, bring it down to the ground, clear that off, and do that for each of the tails, and then release the kite where the size of it would not cross phase at that point. So when they arrived, 2 things. We tried that first, and second thing was it was going to be a struggle regardless if it reached or not. So we also called the next city over where we have one of our off-road machines stored. Great big track vehicle with a very large boom on it. Called him to get suited up, get ready, get that thing loaded up and start hitting the highway. He was about 2 hours away with that machine. So we tried it with the sticks, did not work because we couldn't reach it, not even close. Looks were deceiving. It was probably about 60 feet up. So we called in the machine, and once the machine arrived, we loaded up our gear. Once the machine was in place, it was easy. Then you could go right up and above the lines, and we basically did the same plan, putting the brush and the sticks, coiled it up. There was one other hazard. There was a distribution feeder passing perpendicular directly below the transmission line. We traced out the string. You could barely see it. We'll try to get some shots where you can see the string, but the string was like probably 400 feet long, maybe longer, and it was zinging tight, going way off in the distance over top of our distribution feeder, which was directly tied in with the substation. There was no fuses on it. It was tied in with the reclosures at the sub, and then off into a tree. So there was also the hazard of dropping the string across the distribution structure. Had it dropped across, it's very unlikely that it would have crossed phase. Definitely don't want to touch it on by hand. If it did drop across, you would still use sticks to remove it. But now that the boom's in place, the plan was to slowly and methodically remove each and every piece, including maintaining control of that string and dropping it in a controlled fashion. Well, kind of. We'll see here in the video in a minute that it doesn't land on the distribution feeder. Plan of attack here is to take control of those real long purple ribbons first. Those are the guys that could potentially reach one of the other phases. Now, while material isn't conductive per se, when you're talking 138,000 volts, just about anything could be potentially conductive in the right conditions. Well, that is a fabric. It's a nice dry day. You get some heavy fog that makes contact with another phase, it's definitely going to flash over.
We've got there you can see the tail getting dangerously close to that center phase there now. But our plan of attack, they've got a grabber on one stick, that stick on the right, you spin that and it grabs, and on the other, we've got a brush. We're hoping that the bristles of the steel brush might be able to twist those purple fabric pieces up, tear them off. Another concern is the string. You can see the string taken off. That string goes for like 300-400 feet. We can see it in the sky. It carries a long ways off. It's going a couple hundred feet off to the distance. It's very tight, heading off to, it's even in behind those trees. That's directly over top of our distribution feeder. The plan is to give that a spin and wind that right up and then cut it off. There, he's got one of them already. You can see it floating free in the bucket. Excellent work, gentlemen. So this transmission line is 138,000 volts phase to phase. Going to carry on with the same plan, giving that a spin once it's in control, using the knife, cut it off, and he's able to retrieve another one of those ribbons. Great idea with the guys using that clamp stick to take control of the kite, so while they're messing around with stuff, they don't lose that, pull that string over the counterpoise, and then it make contact with one of the phases. This one here wrapped right around the wire. Wrapped around many times. This off-road vehicle that we're on, it is fully ready to do bare hand work. When you see those videos of the guys putting their hands on the wires and tarking, that top boom, you can see the metal clamp around the top and the bottom. Whenever they're doing bare hand work, they'll clamp a meter on that and actually monitor any leakage through the boom to ground. If the leakage exceeds a predetermined amount, which has been 20 years since I've worked out on one of these buckets, then the job gets shut down. Usually would occur in poor atmospheric conditions, real heavy humidity days, or if the boom wasn't properly cleaned, which is done before every job, of course. So they've got all the ribbons off. Imagine they're going to cut that string next. Something important to note when you're dealing with 138 kV like this, you don't want to be touching the truck and then having a foot on the ground. It is on steel tracks, and we do have a ground. You can see there's a ground bar in the back of the vehicle. You can't see the ground, but there is a ground in place. But you don't want to be climbing off and on when they're in contact with the lines. The kite is successfully retrieved. dealing with the string, which goes off to a tree a long, long ways away. It's gonna try and break it. Keeping in control of that wire, they're swinging around and over top of our distribution lines. They'll never reach where it is in the trees, so they'll just have to break it off at that point. Still spinning it up. You guys are doing a really great job being in control of everything at all times here. Keeping that string off the distribution feeder. Now that they're on the other side of the distribution feeder, they will cut that clear to the ground. You'll be able to cut that by hand now and let it drop. Off she goes into the trees. Great job, boys.
So that was an interesting job, a piece of machinery that I don't think we've ever seen on any of my videos before. Definitely want to show you guys that. We do have access to some pretty neat equipment if needed. The power lines are literally everywhere. We've got towers going across the ocean, underground, through mountains, cliffs. They are everywhere. And whatever we need to do, whatever we need to acquire to reach those power lines, we can usually get it. It just costs a little bit of money. So thanks for checking out the video, guys, and we'll see y'all very soon.